At what point can you call yourself a pro? Is it money? Is it a certain time? Who decides?
Okay, welcome back to Secret Surge, guys. Thanks for joining us yet again. We're going to start off with slightly different to usual because we both raced this weekend, or this last weekend now, and we thought we'd just do a quick recap on it. So, Lindsay, how do we feel about the race? What did we do? Where were we?
Yes. Well, personally, I didn't have a very good race, but I always say that racing at any point in your training is a good experience. So, for reference, I averaged over the 10K run called the Kook Run. I averaged 5:52 pace. Reference to Wharf, I ran last year at a 6-mile race, which is pretty close to a 10K for those of you who don't know. 10K is 6.2. I averaged 5:29, so I didn't do very well. My legs locked up, and I didn't feel that great.
Like you said, it's all good race experience, and I actually was watching Nikki Hiltz's video this morning, and the top 3 at the Millrose Games said that the only way to practice racing is to race, and that's exactly what you did. That was the main reason for me doing this race as well, the Kook Run 10K, was because I wanted to kind of take advantage of the opportunity to test the aerobic fitness and learn how to mentally push again after not having to race for a while. And for me, it worked out well. I ran 33, finished 4th woman, which
almost third.
Almost
third.
But yeah, it was a 31-second PB and the first time that I've run sub 34. So for me, it was successful, and I feel like I came away a lot more wiser and more experienced, and felt like, I've got more in me. I feel like I could do a bit more. But I was certainly happy with the race, and I think I got the best I could have done on the day.
And also for our listeners, we did not plan to race this together. This was just a happy coincidence that we were both entered. I joined Stevie in the Mammoth track club for dinner the night before, and it was fun and relaxed. And that's another thing about racing, is if you can find people to do some stuff with the night before, or just having people to link up with, it makes the experience a lot better. But even if the result doesn't turn out the way you want, at least you got a fun trip out of it. That's what I say.
Like, a lot of the time I forget that I'm actually racing until it's the morning of the race, because we did our shakeout along the beach the day before, and then we went out for dinner, and I came back, and then suddenly, my alarm's going off at 5 a.m. because I've got to race by 7:30. So
that was rough. That is the rough thing about road races, I'd say. One thing I like about track a little bit better.
Getting a little bit into a waking up early routine now, which feels wrong.
Oh boy, don't do that. Go back to bed.
But yeah, I'm doing it. You do get a good community with the road races, and I would say I came away knowing more people than I went going in, so that's always a nice feeling. Let's get into the main topic of the day, which is who decides who's pro.
So it has no clear definition, and actually this morning I was looking at a couple articles because I was like, what do people actually think of this? And a long time ago, it's like Runner's World posted an article that said, professional as an adjective carries an implied agreement. One side agrees to act professionally and the other side agrees to make a payment. So I'd say that's a pretty baseline definition, but it's obviously way more than that as well.
Well, from that definition that you just gave, it definitely implies that in running terms, you are being paid to run. You have a contract to run. So if we wanted to make this a really short podcast, there you go. There's your answer. We can finish now.
Bye.
If you look at the reality of it, there is so little money in running compared to other sports, football, basketball. Yep. There's so much money in those that makes sense for those. But for athletics, if you're looking at who's making the Olympics, people that are coming 5th place, 3rd place, making the final of an Olympic event are not being paid to be runners. They are working a full-time job alongside it. Maybe it's a part-time job, and they're the best in the world. So it would make the number of people that are professional athletes by that definition, extremely small. My key example of this is actually Georgia Bell, who's a very well-known British runner who came third place in the Olympics in the 1500 in Paris this year. And before that, she was working full-time, and she actually posted on her Instagram not too long ago. It was her announcing that she was going to compete at the Millrose Games. In an article that was written about her, it said, "In January 2024, if Georgia Bell wanted to run an indoor meet, she had to go to the World Athletics website, look up the meet director's email address, and beg. Bell and her coaches would have to explain why a 30-year-old with a 4:06 personal best at 1,500 meters and no accomplishments to speak of at the senior level deserved a spot on the start line. In January 2025, meet directors are the ones begging Bell to run their races. An Olympic bronze medal will do that." So it just kind of begs the question, was she only considered a pro when she quit her job and won this medal, and all the work she'd done before doesn't count? It's worth noting that I believe she did sign her Nike contract sometime during the year for 2024.
Right.
I guess she was being paid, but at the same time she was working a full-time job. And It's almost as soon as she got this medal, her life has changed. And what accomplishment from not being able to get into the races to competing at the Millrose Games, and not only that, she won the race.
And that's just one of many stories, which is exactly why we're talking about this today. For myself, I think I would say that I became a professional runner when I quit my full-time job and moved to Flagstaff to run. I was training and competing at a high level before that, but I was also working full-time in engineering, and I felt like because that was taking up a majority of my day and running was kind of a secondary thing, I didn't really consider myself, or I didn't feel like a professional. So therefore I didn't consider myself to be a professional. And that goes, it goes back to it being a self-worth and validation thing, because once I did that, it was like, okay, I'm all in. And a lot of people wouldn't consider me pro right now. They would look at my times or my accomplishments and they'd be like, no, she doesn't rank high enough. I think in the US last year, I was ranked 40 something in the steeple. It's like, is that good enough? Like, I don't know. It's top 50 in the country. Like, I think that should be good enough, but people have their own definitions. And exactly like you said, I'm not making a lot of money doing this.
Did you find any difference between just in the way that you acted and you felt when you started calling yourself a professional compared to a semi-professional or even less?
I did. But part of that, I think, was the move to a completely different area, training with people that had contracts and had professional experience. And it was hard for the first couple months to get into it, but I did join a team there. I joined McCurdy Trained, and I felt I had a group with me too that was on this journey to really make themselves professional athletes. And so once I did that, I felt like my body was responding better. I was racing better. I tried new race distances. That's the first time I tried a 10K, was shortly after I moved there. I did the USA 10K champs, and I just went in like, I'm a professional just like the rest of these women, and it felt good.
You know what it's kind of making me think of? It's making me think of method acting. So you've kind of immersed yourself in the pro environment, and you are, whether you are or are not, you are living this professional athlete mindset, and like it's working. You're now a professional, that kind of thing. Like that. And I think method acting is actually something I unintentionally do a lot of the time. You just kind of pretend that you're what you want to be, and suddenly it kind of works out. You actually do get into it.
Oh, if you read enough books on the brain, that's exactly how it works. Like, if you believe it and if you're acting that way, you're at least part of it, even if other people don't consider you.
I at first considered myself a semi-pro athlete when I left university, and I wasn't quite part of the Mammoth Track Club yet, but I consider myself semi-pro then because I was racing in these good races. But at the same time, with the label of semi-pro, in the back of my mind was, is that just a polite way of saying I'm not quite good enough? Which seems really harsh and probably unnecessarily harsh on myself.
Yeah.
But when I transferred that thought to I am a professional runner, you just really do start to embody what it means to be a professional athlete, and you feel better in yourself, and the results kind of come from that. It's like, what comes first, the times, the results, or the title?
Yeah, and really the money part of it, because another site, it's like I saw on marathoners.com or something, it's a professional runner is someone who earns a living by running competitively in races and events. Like,
is anyone earning a living these days?
Like, barely. And no, I mean, barely. And the people that are, a lot of times they're not earning their money from their races or their contracts. They're earning money from their commercializing, from brand sponsorships, because yes,
shoots, maybe things like that. Yeah,
they're promoting products. And I mean, I've done that a little bit on super small scale, but that's basically where I've earned my sponsorship money. It's like Sydney McLaughlin Lavroni. I'm sure she has a lot of money and she can live off of her running life because she's got like Neutrogena, she's got whatever, all of these things that are paying her in addition to the race prize money she's getting. It's really not that much. I wish I had the stat for how much people get at, like, for winning a gold medal, but it's not enough for you to think when
you're winning a gold medal, typically, assuming you have a contract, which we already know not everyone does, but if you're winning a gold medal at the Olympics, typically there is a huge bonus in your contract for that as well. So
that's true.
Once you're at the top, you've almost got all these options, because you might be going for a world record. Usually there's a world record bonus. There's usually prize money at the Olympics or whichever world champs you are, and then
you get your bonus
from winning that. So,
and that begs the question too: is okay, so if you're making money from running, are running influencers online considered professional runners, or are they professional influencers? Like,
that's a good point, because technically they're earning money from being a runner, and they do
about posting about
posting about running, and they do sometimes get like a brand deal, like lots of entries into big marathons will have their run influencers run and get free entry, get treated like a pro essentially.
Yeah, they have their sponsorships from brands are a lot of times bigger than the people that are actually competing in the Olympics or the Millrose Games, because they have the charisma, they have the face. Like, it's not just the running anymore. It's like you have all this other stuff that brands want. So
the relatability to the general masses, which at the end of the day is what these big shoe brands are trying to cater for. They're using the pro athletes to showcase that they've got the best shoes, they've got the fastest shoes, but at the end of the day they're selling to the masses.
I found the stat. So, it says track and field gold medalists. This is according to sportingnews.com. Track and field gold medalists at the 2024 Olympics are paid $50,000 for their wins. So that does not include, contract bonuses. But, if you think about that as a salary, it's if that's like the only thing you did, which of course it's not. They're doing other races, but it's not enough to support a family. That's for sure. If you want to make it, you're earning like $70,000 to $80,000 a year at least. So they're not like in their rich mansions. Let's just say that, unless you're maybe Noah Lyles or Sydney. I don't know. So I think that imposter syndrome that comes with trying to be a professional is super real with all of this, because you say semi-professional. Like, would you actually tell people like, oh no, I'm a professional runner, like that's what I do?
Yeah, I felt it was funny because nothing overly changed when I went from calling myself semi-professional to professional. However, I did quit my job. I quit my job so that I was focusing full-time on the running. But that just meant I was losing more money, because I never made an increase in my money. I just made the decision that I was going to go all in on the running and I was going to take the loss of money. I had enough kind of saved, and I have support from a family, partner, and the kind of amount that I do get from the Mammoth Track Club. So the only thing that changed is that I was now putting all of my time and efforts into it, which I think you have to do within reason to really go for it. And that can be a key factor in not everyone can do it. It's really difficult. But to relate it back to the imposter syndrome, it's the whole idea of I'll be legit when I achieve this. I'll be legit when I run a certain time, when I come this position in this race. In real life terms, when I get that promotion, they'll take me seriously. So it's a thought that I think most athletes and people have experienced in their time. And I know that I will still experience it. Even this weekend just gone at the race, I saw the people in their professional kits. I'm standing on the start line. I'm like, oh, actually, maybe I've got myself in a bit deep here. I don't do 10Ks. I don't know that, like, maybe I shouldn't go with them. I'll just, like, start slow, ease into it. And then you take a moment to look around. You're like, well, I'm in a kit as well.
Yes, and a very cool one at that. If you guys haven't seen the ASICS kit that Stevie has, go on her Instagram because it's pretty cool.
Instagram. I think we're getting a new one soon. Had to give my sizes
in.
So there'll be a reveal on that soon too. But I like this one.
I would like a new one, but I'm making one because I don't have any sort of, well, I can put an X Endurance something on it if I want. I can put whatever I want on it, I guess.
Oh, that's exciting. I'd love to design the kits, because sometimes I see kits and I'm like, really? That was what you came... Like, it went through that many people, it took you the whole year, and that was what you went for without saying any brands.
I've seen that a lot this year. Actually, with... No diss to Under Armour, but I liked their last year's kits much better than this year. So they got
It's strange because I do think they kill it usually.
Yeah.
I feel they do great with their kits, and this one just wasn't the same.
Nope. Really I keep seeing the meme going around from like bring back the Under Armour men's gray speed suit. I'm like, oh god, please no. Yes. Please don't. Like
it doesn't make sense. Why was it gray on yellow?
No.
You couldn't even see the logo. I remember I was watching one of the races and I was like, what brand is that? It's horrible. And then at the end, like I see the meme, I'm like, oh, okay, that's what it was.
I want to bring back the neon pinks and greens. I don't know. Back in the early like 2010-9 kits. I don't know. It's kind of I'll have
pink and green go so well together. I think
maybe I'll have you help me design ours because I'm like I can do whatever, but I thought that I also considered myself a pro when I was wearing a crop top. I was like, oh, I'm wearing a crop top, so I'm definitely pro now, even though it was just like a regular like rabbit one that you can just buy. I mean, you can buy almost anything and wear it.
It has that kind of feel to it.
Yeah,
the crop top does that. I always think that with the briefs as well, that combination, I'm like, okay, yeah, I've got it gives me confidence to be standing there with that kit on.
People think you're fast too. They're like, yeah. They see that and they're automatically like, oh, she's here for business.
I remember the first time that I wore a crop top with the briefs, that specific combination, and it was the first time that I competed at the British Athletics Champs, which was the Olympic trials the time before, so I guess it's 5 years ago. In the warm-up, I had the two vests side by side, and I was like, which one am I going to go for? I was like, is it just a risk to put the crop top on for the first time ever with the briefs? And I was like, oh, I don't know. You're right, your first ever British Athletics. You've wanted this for so long. And I was like, wear the crop top.
Wear the crop top. That's good. Commit.
So funny.
Commit.
I was there like, oh, everyone knows that this is my first time wearing the crop tops and the briefs together.
And then you kind of feel like if you don't, well, at that point, if it's like if you don't perform well enough, it's like, ooh, now I feel kind of weird for wearing the, like, even at the 10K we raced, I was like, God, like, I'm pretty far back now. Like, I don't feel like I deserve to wear this, uniform. I'm like, you know what? No, I still came in like,
you still came like sixth or something.
yeah, I know,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like,
Two spots behind me.
I'm like, okay, it's fine. It's all about perspective and mindset and self-worth. And I'm like, okay,
and there was 1,050 people in that race.
There you go.
And
I'm
not sure where you came like overall, but I looked at where I came overall and I was 26th.
And if you said that to someone, they'd be like, wow, like that's so awesome. Like maybe someone who's not an elite runner. And it's like, yeah, you know what? Like that is awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the key takeaways today from this episode is if you believe that you belong there in the professional and elites, then I think you do.
If you've put the work in, if you've trained like a pro, if you're doing everything outside of running like a pro, if you have the mindset, then why can't you be?
Keep that in mind, and it doesn't matter what other people say, like you belong there. And so we do want to hear what you guys have to say about this. If you have any comments, what do you think makes somebody a pro? I'm sure everybody has their own opinions, which is why we did this. We want conversations. So we're gonna
hate.
No hate, just conversation.
Unless it's the Under Armour yellow and grey kit.
We'll put a poll on Instagram and for what you guys want to hear next. And we have chatted a little bit about who our first guest should be, but if you guys have other people,
I've got a few in mind. I think there's some great options if they will have us. And give us your suggestions.
Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next week.
See you next time.